G'day guys, Alan from B&B here. Today we're going to install our new bash plate on the KTM 1290 Super Adventure R. As you can see, we've already removed their factory bash plate and some of the mounting brackets as well as the foot pegs. We've actually designed it to fit with their factory center stand. That's the factory bash plate that we've removed already. Okay, just for this install you'll need a 4, 5 and a 6mm Allen key. And these are the foot peg brackets we've already removed and the other hardware that you'll need to install the bash plate. Okay, so you just need to reinstall the foot peg bracket along with the B&B brackets that we've supplied you in the kit. Obviously there'll be a left and a right. You don't need to do the product up tight at that stage, just leave them loose. And repeat the same process on the other side. Again, just keeping it that little bit loose. So that way when you're fitting the bash plate, you've got a little bit of play.
Okay, so here's the bash plate. It's a combination of 5mm aluminium on the base plate and 4mm at the front there. We've also got some rubber insulators here that'll sit up against the sump to keep the vibration down a little bit and help give a little bit more support. We've also got a hard plastic tongue on the back, which will give a little bit of protection where the exhaust pipe comes out the back of the bike. Now you'll note that the genuine bash plate has these rubber grommets that'll actually go in those two holes there, but as this bash plate isn't staying on the bike, we won't worry about that. But if you just pop them out, lube them up a bit, you'll be able to pop them in, no worries. All right, so we supply a little piece of foam here just to protect the front of the crash bars there. There's a little bit of a technique to getting this up here. So first of all, what you've got to do is you've got to feed it up the back there like that. Hook that one around this side. You'll have to pull the bit of plastic out, and that's pretty much how it'll sit. And then you can come to the back of the bike, because there's a little tag on the back of the bike there, and then the bash plate can actually rest on there. So it's pretty much sitting there all by itself. Okay, so the next step is really to mount these plastic fairings, because that's kind of what centers it all. And you just got to make sure, it's a bit hard to show you on the camera, but you just got to make sure that the internal of the plastic puck is sitting inside the hole in the bash plate. Depending on how accurate the crash bars are, this one's been pretty good. They go on pretty easily, so we'll just show you that next. So you've got this puck, can really only go one way. So you just feed that through, spin the puck on, and then we'll go around and we'll do the other side. Now this one on this bike was a little bit tight on this side, but if you just push the plastic up and the plate up like that, it wasn't too bad. And again, you don't need to do these up tight yet, just spin them on with your fingers. But just make sure that the plastic's located, and then you've got a bit to play with then. Okay, so the next step is you take this front plate, which is sort of designed to protect up under there, and particularly on that side, the fuel pump and the fuel system. This is the clamp that'll clamp it to the crash bars, and that pretty much goes like that and sandwiches it all together. But to make it a little bit easier, if you just get the M6 countersunk bolts and get them started first, then it just makes the whole process a bit easier. So again, if you just get them started and seated, and then that pretty much holds everything in the right spot so you can clamp it up. The next step is to put those two in, again, just lightly. So we just sit them in there like that. Now you can put those ones in. Again, just get them started. The button heads go on the slotted holes at the bottom. Once you've all got all those sitting in where they need to go, we can move to the back and start the rear bolts on the foot peg mounts. Okay, just line those up. Again, this is why we leave all this a bit loose, so you've not fighting the thing too much. Just get them started again. You might have to just push on the rubbers to squash the rubbers a little bit to get these started. Just go around the other side and repeat. And as you can see, the pipe hangs out the back of the bash plate. That just offers a little bit of dent protection with the plastic tongue. If you hang the aluminium out too much, it's prone to cracking and vibration, so we've just decided that a bit of plastic was probably as good as anything on that. Now that they're all started, you pretty much move back to the front and tighten everything up. Okay, so we've moved to the front of the bash plate now. Time to tighten up a few bits and pieces. The first one we'll do is we'll just lightly seat those two 4mm. We'll lightly seat and do up the outside ones now, just lightly again, just so they're seated. Same with the ones on the plastic fairing. Again, just seat. Now we can nip these ones up and clamp it home. Now you can lean on these ones because this is when you're pinching it up. Just do them evenly so it pulls up square. Now you can go along and tighten all these ones. It does help to have a T-handle and a couple of L-shaped ones because the front wheel can be a bit of a pain. You can do all this on the ground, of course, but it's just easier for us to make the video with it up in the air for you. And plus, I'm getting too old to be mucking around on the ground with stuff. After your first ride or a first few hours, it really doesn't hurt to go along and check all these bolts, because any new bolts before they start to bind up can loosen a little bit, but as it's a pinch setup and we're going into plastic, it's probably not necessary, but not a bad idea. Now we can just move to the back of the bike, tighten up the rear ones. Okay, we lean on these, nice and firm. Those ones, nice and firm. Now you can reinstall your foot pegs. Yep, so that's pretty much it. She's solid as a rock. You may have to undo the brake master cylinder rod end. So this is a bit loose because it can be a bit tricky getting that pin in when you reinstall the foot pegs. But you're pretty much done with that, and that's ready to go for a ride.